story is changing through the lens specifically of voice and voice-first AI. And they talk about this, and I found this tweet from this woman, Allie Miller, who talks about she now dictates to Otter like while she's walking or while she's working out. Like she vibe coded an app verbally while working out in a 40-minute period. You have the head of OpenAI Codex team arguing that like the current limiting factor on our productivity is the fact that we're constrained by our fingertips. And this comes to the kind of the math behind the point you made about the explosion of content. We can type about 40 words per minute, but we can talk 150 words per minute. But I mean, you can see like the math is basically like, I don't know, 10,000x, kind of bandwidth throughput. I mean, so the explosion of content potentially is that. Like, obviously, you're not talking for 24 hours. I mean, I'm talking for 24 hours in a day, but you're not, for example. But no. The explosion in content is going to be enormous.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're seeing, medicine is an interesting space where a lot of it is about capturing information, and now they're actually like redesigning hospitals and doctors' offices to have this kind of ambient AI that is listening to what's going on in the conversation between the doctor and the patient, and then creating letters and sort of reports based on it. The upside of that, of course, is like, first of all, the doctor is more present.
Yep.
I don't know if you've ever had this experience. You go to the doctor's office now, they're just sitting in front of their computer, like mindlessly typing as you speak. It's a very sort of like impersonal experience.
I think it's like the only experience I've had at the doctor.
Right. So now they're like looking you in the eyes and like maybe trying to relate to you. And then you think of the productivity gain. I mean, I always think of my own dad. My dad's a doctor. He's a neurologist. Growing up my entire life, he would come home, get home at 7, and then he would spend probably like 2 hours dictating his letters to other doctors because he was a terrible typer. And the dictation was terrible, so he had the software that turned the dictation into words. Then he would have to edit the words. But this is hours of his life. Hours of his life that he would now have had back in this sort of like AI first world where all of those letters would be generated the moment he talked to the patient and then sent to the other doctor that referred the patient to him, right?
The notes would be much clearer, much more legible, much more structured. I mean, this ties a little bit to this idea in the article where they talk about there are whole companies that are redesigning their office space around having, for example, like phone booths, because like obviously if I talk, it's better for me, but it's not necessarily better for everyone else to listen to me, right? It can be distracting. So like having a phone booth for that, or having these microphones at your desk that you can dictate to, which I think would be a great idea, like what your father would have used if he had these tools today. Even our own thing around granola is very interesting.
Yeah, I'm blown away by how much our workflow has changed with voice. I mean, how did you and I used to work? We would like talk together about an idea, and then I would spend sometimes as much as a week like typing up the idea into an article, which we would then ship to like Marketing Week or something like that, or put on our podcast, right?
And you wouldn't have captured probably all the things we wanted to say. So it's like we talk, imperfect memory, imperfect capture of the notes, go take a week to write it. I have to edit it a bunch because it doesn't exactly get what I want in there. Just like super slow.
Yeah, the editing process was slow. The writing process was slow, which is why this entire year we managed to ship like one Marketing Week column, right?
Yeah, well, what are we doing now?
So now you and I go into a conference room. We scream at each other for an hour.
Which always used to happen too.
But the
now what
difference
happens
now is that Granola is listening.
Yeah, right.
So Granola is this incredible note-taking app, and it's generating a live transcript of everything we're saying, and then it's summarizing it. Then I copy the transcript wholesale, I feed it to Claude, and I say, type this into an agenda for our podcast. That's not where it ends, though. Then I bring you the draft of the podcast, and then you yell at me for like an hour. Granola's listening again. I yell back at you occasionally. It's mostly me being yelled at. Then I take that transcript, I feed it back to Claude, and I say, reflect these edits into the podcast. And it says, great, okay. Then we do a podcast. At the end of this, Ben, our lovely podcast producer, will send us a transcript of this full episode. We'll feed that back to Claude. And what will we ask? We'll ask Claude to produce a 1,000-word article. We'll ask Claude to produce 10 LinkedIn posts. We will feed it to Claude again and say, turn it into a deck. So, like, this is not, it's just crazy how everyone's like, AI's a bubble. There's not really any serious productivity gain. I mean, we're literally talking about something that used to take us 40 hours that, like, in some cases is now an hour of back and forth with me and you just talking to each other.
Yeah, this is a legitimate 10x productivity improvement. Legit.